department from 1999 at the University of Ibadan as well. She is a membrane biochemist with a special interest in specific roles of mitochondria, functional and structural indices as drug targets and biomarker for diagnostic and prognosis of cancer and related diseases. She has won some academic awards and fellowship in several areas. She has also won several grants, which if I start mentioning, we probably will end up the whole day here. She is a board director of HAVEK Leadership Academy and also a member of the governing council of Fountain University, Oshogo. She is the past treasurer and financial secretary at Beduleki, coordinator and chairperson at several training programs for women, youth, teachers, children, missionary, endlessly. Our mother is well, has a happy home and well married, with blessed with good children as well. Brothers and sisters in Al-Azim, I present to you our mother, Associate Professor Dr. Mrs. Rahmat Adetutu Adeyemi Adisa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, ma, you have 20 minutes, ma. Your time starts now, ma.
Okay, thank you very much. It's indeed my pleasure to be one of the speakers at this webinar. All the protocols that you observed, I thank the organizers, and I also want to thank the elder speakers, my brothers, Dr. Onibo and Dr. Adedeji. I thank you for making my job easy too, and you have spoken well on the Islamic perspective, as well as the activities of plagiarism, and to speak on the consequences, attitudinal and ways of coming plagiarism. We have listened to the definitions and different definitions from different authors, from the dictionary, from other writers on what plagiarism means. But plagiarism, being simply put, is the use of written material without appropriate attribution. And plagiarism is not limited to text alone, as you have been told. You can
Assalamu alaikum, ma. Assalamu alaikum, ma. I think your line is breaking. We're struggling to hear you. Perhaps maybe you can change your position or something.
Now, well now. Is it better?
Barely. Maybe if you continue, we'll see how it is.
Okay, let me just shut the video down. How about now? So plagiarism is not limited to text. Ideas and acts can also be plagiarized. People could plagiarize figures, tables, illustrations. We need to know when we actually plagiarize. Whether it is idea plagiarism, whether it's direct plagiarism, or whether it's duplicate publication or self-plagiarism that we are doing, or text recycling, as we have just been told by Dr. Adedeji. It is possible for an author to plagiarize his own work. If you look at there is a graphical expression on the screen. Please go to the next slide. I'm using this slide to illustrate creative art plagiarism. If you look at the diagram or the sketch on the far left-hand side of the screen, you will find out that that is the original sketch of Aja Adams in 2016, which he used in public art building community grant application. with artist Lisa Marie Thalhammer. The artwork in the middle actually describes a derivative of the first work, and that was done in 2017. It was painted directly on top of the original work by Lisa Marie Thalhammer, and this was approved by grantors after Aja raised copyright infringement case, meaning that that work was found out to be plagiarized, and the grantors actually approved it after Aja has raised a case of copyright infringement on his work. If you have a look at the artwork on the far right of the screen, that is the final completed mural 2017, which is a combination of original and derivative used without permission of artist Aja. So artist Aja has actually launched a campaign for creative dignity, demanding justice for plagiarizing his work. And you can see at the top bottom of the screen that I have inserted the URL, the site from which I copied this artwork, so that I will not be accused of plagiarizing this work. So we should learn to do that when we actually adapt any other person's work, either artwork, graphics, or even text. This second graphic artist work or design is also to illustrate how creative art and designs can be plagiarized. And this is also to tell us that plagiarism occurs in different professions. It's not just in the academia alone. People plagiarize their colleagues' work, whether artwork, whether the ideas, whether concepts, and what have you. So you can see that there's a common background in this creative graphic design. And the only difference is in the name of the authors and the fact that there's a past express train wreck Julius Christian, which the person used his or her name. So the work, this creative art design, has been plagiarized. It's an example of plagiarized work. Why is plagiarism bad? We need to know why it is bad so that we can desist from it. It is inherently dishonest because you are misrepresenting another person's work as your own and taking credit for what does not belong to you. It is also a theft, like has been said, an intellectual property theft. Plagiarism actually steals the source of livelihood and professional standing of researchers. And if we look at some of the hadith, we have been told that he who deceives is not part of us, and he is not a believer who is not trustworthy. So plagiarism is bad because it actually portrays dishonesty, and which is against the ethics of our religion. It also goes against the rules and ethics of the academic world, and it makes one to transgress against the rule and face the consequences that comes with it. Did Islam say anything about plagiarism? Yes, we have heard it all. So I don't have to belabor us on that. It is one of the reasons why Islamic science of hadith narration was actually developed. A Muslim's property is not permitted to be taken by others without his consent, and this is applicable to whether the owner is a Muslim or not. That is said by Ibn Baz. And there are a host of other authors and quotations that we have been told about in the Quran as well as Hadith. So Islam actually frowns at it. There is a perspective from the Islamic point of view. Why do we think plagiarism occur? You will wonder why somebody will want to steal somebody else's work, or why somebody will want to take credit for what does not belong to him. Sincerely, some people are ignorant. They don't know what plagiarism is all about. They are not aware. And so it requires sensitization of authors and a lot of efforts on the part of mentors and supervisors to ensure that our students, our mentees, are aware of what plagiarism is. The second point is that laziness. Some people are just lazy. They are not painstaking. They can't devote hours to check references, to do the needful, so that they can cite correct references and credit authors. Some authors may cite references appropriately, while in some places they will fail to complete the attributions correctly. It is sheer laziness on some people's part. For some, it is language barrier because we find out that some documents are written in some other languages like Italian language, like the Chinese language, and needs to be interpreted for non-native English speakers. And in the process of interpretation, there is distortion in information. So thereby producing documents in English language that may cause authors to become challenged in communicating the concepts in their own words. In the process of interpretation, the concepts would have been distorted. And because they don't even understand the concepts properly, they cannot just write them in their own words. The pressure to publish and not perish, that is the slogan in academia. You publish or perish. And for this reason, people want promotion in their places of work. And it is the quantum of publication that you can present determines whether you will actually merit the promotion to the next level. So the pressure of academic and career progression also make people to steal other people's work and publish and put their name as if it is theirs. There's some people are habitual plagiarists. They are used to plagiarizing, and because they are never caught, they feel it's a way of life and it's the best thing to do. So they keep plagiarizing. How can we detect plagiarism? Plagiarism is basically identified by journals, reviewers, editors, and readers. And you see, there is a level of there's an acceptable level of similarities that varies from publishers to publishers. But conventionally, text similarity below 15% is acceptable. For some journals, they will say it is 5, it is 10, 12. You will find different publishers with their acceptable level of text similarity. And a similarity of greater than 25% is considered as high percentage of plagiarism. If you follow my presentation, you will discover that in parentheses, almost at the end of every of my bullet points, I have Roman figure numbers there. And that is, I am citing the authors, the authorities. I'm giving credit to the authors because this word does not emanate from me. I have copied from them. I'm giving credit to them. There are different styles for citing authors or referencing. This is just one of them. And with this that I have done, I want to limit or reduce the number of words that I want on my screen. At the end of my presentation, you'll find the list of the references that I have used, arranged sequentially in ascending order. So detection softwares are usually used to test for the level of plagiarism of a particular manuscript or text. Software such as Turnitin, Authenticate, Grammarly, you can find some of them online. Duplicate Checker, they are there. Once you can download them and use them for checking your references or your level of plagiarism. What are the consequences of plagiarism? On the plagiarist, there is there are consequences on the plagiarist. There are also consequences on the plagiarized, and the institution and the society also bear some consequences in the process of plagiarism. The plagiarist may experience being banned from publishing in journals. The person may not be able to publish again, depending on the extent of the offense of plagiarism. Retraction of the articles or articles can be retracted, and I mean the articles that the author or the person has published previously. So you can imagine that this is a labor loss. Rejection of the manuscript that the person wants to publish, that manuscript can actually be rejected because of plagiarism. Now, the appropriate academic research institution to which the plagiarist belongs or works can also be notified, and the plagiarist will face sanction. The person might even lose his or her job. So, like Dr. Adedeji said, it's a criminal act. The funders, research funders, and research agencies can also be contacted, and the plagiarist will lose funding opportunities. In some minor cases, yes, the author might be, if the author admits fairly, might just be asked to apologize and write a brief correction, and the publication will go through. But I want to point out that penalty varies and depends on the journal policy and the extent of plagiarism and the intent behind plagiarism, because it could be intentional or unintentional. It is only when investigation panel is set up that it can be determined whether the plagiarism was intentionally committed or not. Now, on the plagiarized and the institution, you can imagine if we put ourselves in the position of somebody whose work has been plagiarized, you feel violated, you feel demoralized, and you feel that somebody has stolen your intellectual property. It is not easy to sit down and come up with a concept and write it up. We know how long it takes us to write a concept, the proposal, get funding, do the work, and now write out the publication for other users to see and utilize. So when somebody now steals or take advantage or take ownership or take credit for a work he or she has not labored for, it is highly grievous. Readers are swindled and deny the link to the source. In the process, readers are also swindled because they are deceived and they won't have access to the real source of the information. The victims, that is the plagiarized, are robbed of leveraging on their previous research ideas or studies for future work. For example, a young author that has a research idea and the person has not published much, is not established in that area, and somebody steals that idea, there is no connectivity. The author will not have connectivity between his or her preliminary work and continuation of that work or the future work to do. So the victims lose touch on what they have done. It also defrauds the system to promoting dishonesty over honesty. You find out that mediocrity will be promoted if it is an institution where quantum is what is required at that point in time. Then you discover that it is the person that has the highest number of publications that will be promoted. The person might even be given a position of authority, so it defrauds the system. Low quality, sloppy research, invention, and development will ensue. It is scandalous. The institution faces scandals, loss of credibility, and public image. Institutions also lose big grants, and they lose income from such grants because there's a percentage of grants that goes to the institution which they use to run the affairs of the university. Allah says, do not think that who exult in what they have done and seek for praise for things they have not done will escape the torment. Agonizing torment awaits them. You find that in Quran 3, verse 188. So how is plagiarism avoided? You need to attribute all the used materials in the articles to their sources. You use the same references. If you use the same references repeatedly, then you have to cite the reference. You have to use quotation marks as we have been told. Then you give total credit to the source. When using a figure from someone else's work, in addition to citing their work, you need to take permission from the publisher if it is required. Proper mentorship and education of junior authors or students about plagiarism is required, because if you don't know, there is no way you can do what is right. We need to deliberately create awareness about the consequences of plagiarism and what it is all about and how to avoid it. We need the use of software checking programs before submission. We have to adopt that style of checking for the level of plagiarism in your work with softwares. You can download them online before you turn it and before you submit your publications. And finally, on attitudinal change, our attitude towards plagiarism needs to change. We have to sharpen our writing skills. We have to reference authors properly. If we don't know how to do this, we have to go and learn. Whatever skills that we need to write well, we ensure that we acquire. And I think this is this forum to establish attitudinal change, and that is what we are doing in NOSFAT now. We thank the organizers for this. There should be no hastiness when you want to write. You must be patient to do the right searching, be painstaking, and not be hasty when you are writing or when you want to publish. Plagiarizing should not be taken as a game of chance. It is not, because most often than not, we know when we are. Some people know that they are plagiarizing. When they are copying other people's work, they know. We should uphold honesty, integrity, and originality, because that will dissuade plagiarism. There are 3 techniques that you can use to avoid plagiarism. The first one is to use quotes, quotation marks. You can paraphrase. And when you are paraphrasing, you should ensure that the paraphrased sentence must only match the source document in terms of meaning and not the exact words. So you should use your own words when you are paraphrasing. That is allowed. Then you can also summarize. The summarized text must provide a short overview of the source text and be much shorter than the original written version. So if you learn how to use these three techniques, you are most likely to avoid plagiarism. And we must fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and emulate our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah's messenger said, whoever attributes to me what I did not say should get his place ready in hellfire. Ready in hellfire. That is the consequence of plagiarizing.
Yes.
And in Quran 3:188, Allah says, do not think that we exalt in what they have done and seek for praise for things they have not done will escape the torment. The torment. I'm sure we cannot wait. We just cannot experience the torment of Allah. May Allah be with us and guide us against his torment. And may he help us to avoid plagiarism and anything that will make us enter the hellfire. You find my references as displayed. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wow. Wow, mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. This is an amazing presentation. It is really, really heartwarming to be present at this event today. How do we avoid plagiarism? Our mother said to us, learn how to use quotation marks, put everything all into enclosed quotation mark, learn how to paraphrase, and also learn how to summarize things. Our mother told us as well, what are the major causes of plagiarism? Why do people plagiarize? Laziness, ignorance, language barrier. Sometimes you might fall into that when you are lifting from a different language. And obviously, pressure to publish or perish. And also, some people are just habitual plagiarists. They just cannot help themselves, but they just have to plagiarize. We thank Allah. We ask Allah to continue to bless our mother. This is amazing. This is really good. I hope these documents will be available to people to be able to understand how much detail they need to understand ways of preventing plagiarism. We will take questions. We'll take questions. I hope people are ready. I have our brother Godolph has had his hand up earlier. I will take you quickly. Can I ask you to please unmute yourself? Godolph, please unmute yourself. You have 1 minute, please.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Yeah, I really commend the efforts put together by NASFAT to make this program a reality, because it's a very useful program, most especially for those of us that are just coming up and are looking forward to be in the academic circle. So it's like a training ground for us. And I will start my question from the last speaker concerning, in fact, she really did something very great, in the sense that she has, in order for us to avoid plagiarism, she actually showed that NASFAT has taken the right step, and that is giving the younger ones orientation, the awareness to know that this is...
Sir, please go to your question, please. We haven't got the time, sir.
Okay,
please.
Thank you. My question, I have two questions, please. The first one goes to Dr. Adedeji concerning self-plagiarism. I've always had this problem with understanding it, because of the analogy that is drawn between plagiarism and theft. Theft and plagiarism seems to have a kind of implication at the end of the day, please. And this has to do with when I can be accused of self-plagiarizing. If I'm accused of to have plagiarized myself, and plagiarism is likely to theft, I think, would that not amount to me being accused of stealing my property? That is one. Please, I want him to please expatiate on that, because it has a further implication. And the implication is that some people, some men have been accused of raping their wives. And is it possible for a man to have raped his wife? So is it possible for me to have stolen my work? That is one. Then going to Dr. Onibon, because he actually dealt on the past era of Islam, and I'll be referring to Surah Al-Furqan, verse 5, whereby Allah says, وَقَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ اكْتَتَبَهَا وَهِيَ تُمْلَى عَلَيْهِ بُكْرَةً وَأَصِيلًا. That verse, could it be interpreted as saying that the Holy Prophet was accused of plagiarism? I submit. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very much. Please, I would like to create the indulgence of everyone with their answer. Please make it brief and straight to your question. Please let us do without the preview and the presentation earlier, please. I'll take Kider. You've written a question on the chat. Is that the same question you want to ask?
No, another question, please. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, please be brief. Thank you, Alex.
My question is, could a work be 100% free from plagiarism, going by the fact that a saying in Arabic that says, La jadida fil alam bal mujaddid? This question goes to Dr. Adedeji.
Could it be completely free from plagiarism?
Yes, a work, could it be completely free from plagiarism? Okay. Going by the fact that there's nothing new on this earth.
Okay, thank you very much. That is noted. Thank you, sir. Can I take Shitu Ibrahim Oladipupo, please?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
My question is directed to Dr. Adedeji. I just missed something on the categories and kind of plagiarism, where he mentioned global, patchwork, incremental, self-plagiarism. But the first one he mentioned, I missed it out.
The first one he mentioned?
The fourth one. He mentioned global, patchwork, incremental, self-plagiarism.
Incremental plagiarism. Oh, okay. You mentioned incremental. Okay.
Yes.
All right. The fourth one. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Can I take Ms. Muali, please, quickly?
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
So essentially, one of my questions has been asked by the previous Imam who just asked a question now. Then the second one goes to Dr. Adisa. When she was explaining why does plagiarism occur, so I want him to expatiate and put more explanation on habitual plagiarism. Habitual plagiarist.
Oh, habitual plagiarist.
Yes. I want you to expatiate on that.
All right, thank you. Let me quickly go back to our brother Godofo quickly. The question to Associate Professor Olibon, I didn't quite capture that. Can you quickly say that again? Your question for Dr. Onibon, please, quickly.
The fifth verse in Surah Al-Furqan, which says, وَقَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ اكْتَتَبَهَا وَهِيَ تُمْلَى عَلَيْهِ. So I want him to kindly tell us, could that be interpreted to mean that the Holy Prophet was accused of plagiarism?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will take the answers. I think, let me quickly take Dr. Olibon first. I think it's quite fresh in our minds. Sir, are you still there, sir?
Yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The question is the fifth verse of Surah Al-Furqan.
Thank you very much. Yeah, not only the 5th verse of Surah Al-Furqan are the verses where Almighty Allah repeated what the believers said to the prophet being impostor in plagiarism, if I have to put that. That, oh, these stories you have told us, we've heard it before. Somebody had told you something. But we should not forget that the Quran tells us somewhere that we never leave anything untouched for the prophet. Even there is another verse which says, we have told prophets before you, some we have not told them. So we are telling you, as the worldwide prophet that was sent to the whole world to give this message. And that is why some scholars have said the Quran is a comprehension of all the revealed books of Allah. Wherever you found in the original Bible, whether new or old, whatever you found in Torah, you will still find some kind of sequence in the messages of this prophet. In fact, that establishes the fact that the prophets mentioned in the Quran have linkages. In another verse of the Quran, Almighty Allah says, "Inna hadhihi ummatukum ummatun wahid," that this nation of new prophets are one. So you found out that their messages are in sequence, and you see the layers of those messages emanating from the first prophet till the last one, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that particular verse, وَقَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ, these are stories of the ancient ones. اكتتبها, he has gotten them written for him. فَهِيَ تُمْلَى عَلَيْهِ بُكْرَةً وَأَصِيلًا, and they said, oh, every day in the morning, in the evening, they used to tell it. This, if you look at the verses from 1, 2, 3, 4, and even that one, it says, "Waqalu," they said. Allah said, they said to you. But tell them, cool. If you read the verse 6, it says, cool. أَنزَلَهُ الَّذِي يَعْلَمُ سِرَّ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Tell them, it was revealed by the one who knows the hidden in the heaven and the earth. إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. He is the most forgiving, most merciful. So it is like a conversation that Allah is saying, oh, they said this about you. But tell them this. Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much, sir, for that. Dr. Adedeji, sir, the first one, can one self-plagiarize themselves?
Thank you. I have 3 questions before me. Let me answer them in reverse order.
Okay.
The first one is the fourth kind of a plagiarism is reverse plagiarism, whereby you conjure your own words and you now attribute it to others. Also, can a work be entirely new? The answer is no. There is nothing new under the surface of the earth. But don't forget that knowledge is dynamic. You continue to build on it. What's important is you acknowledge what has been done earlier. Then, after acknowledging that, you now build your own. That is your own contribution to knowledge. It is only wrong or bad if you have not acknowledged what has been done earlier. But once the previous authors have been acknowledged, and you now add your own, so you are good to go. So, to answer your question, the work of anybody cannot be entirely new, but you just continue building on it. And the last question, can we plagiarize oneself? Oh, the answer is yes. Don't forget that when this work was initially published, you have been credited, you have been acknowledged, and you have already claimed the benefits of it. So therefore, if it has been published in a journal, and you have added it to your list of publication, or you have used it for any other thing, you now want to recycle, you want to use the same thing that has been done before. That is fraudulent. if you want to look at it from another perspective, definitely the topic will change. Also, the narrative will also change. What we are saying in essence is that you are not expected to plagiarize yourself. Just let your work be new at every point in time. That is what is required of an academic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that brief answers. I appreciate that. Dr. Adisa, a quick one. Habitual plagiarists, can you briefly throw a bit more light into that? Briefly, ma'am.
Yes, thank you very much. Habitual plagiarist, from the word habitual, somebody that is used to plagiarizing. He has done it over and over, and is now a master of it. So because he has mastered it, and he was never caught, he will definitely continue. It's just like somebody that steals, the armed robbers. You know, they will continue to grow in it day in, day out. Same with plagiarists. So if you have somebody that plagiarizes and the person is never caught, there's that tendency that the person will continue to steal other people's work and think that what he or she is doing is right, even though he may know that it is wrong. But because he has never faced the wrath of the law, he will continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before you go, Ma, I'll ask one more question for you, but I just want to double check. Are we happy to share your slide with others?
Yes. Provided it will not be utilized without my permission. If it's just for academic exercise, if they want to read from it, if they just want to use it to study, yes. But if anybody uses this slide, yes, without my permission, it is plagiarism, and I will sue the person.
I think they are asking for your permission here now.
Yes, do you understand what I'm saying?
May I quickly point out
to use it for academic exercise, to read, to use it to study. Do you understand?
Yes.
But not to go and use it for presentation.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Okay.
You get it right.
And the last question: is it possible for someone to plagiarize an oral work? For example, as we're talking now, can one plagiarize based on that?
Well, thank you. That question is for me, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. You know, there is nothing that cannot happen now. We are in the tech world. So it is possible. Because they can, some people that are very, very tech savvy, they can change, you know, the voicing, the mixing, and all of that. And that is why the people that are in the music industry, they always cry of copyright. You know, they always cry of copyright. So it is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I want to thank everyone for the fantastic questions that you've given us today, and we thank all our resource team. It's been an enlightening afternoon or evening for us all. Before we go, I would call on the General Manager of HAVEK, HAVEK Leadership Academy, to quickly give us a brief remark, because this program came in conjunction with HAVEK, the person of Alhaj Ayola Fiades. Just brief words from you, sir. Okay, I'm not sure he's there. Let's move on. The next on the agenda is to hear words of closing remark, word of encouragement from our father, our spiritual leader of NASFAT, person of Hajj Imam Maruddin Onike Abdulaziz.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We thank the Almighty Allah for making the event possible. You cannot thank our speakers well enough. The only thing we can say to them is Jazakumullahu khairan kathira. Jazakumullahu khairan kathira. Jazakumullahu khairan kathira. You have made our days, because some of the people who were writing for us will have picked one or two things. And when they are sending in their materials, they'll be conscious of what they are sending in, because we have, as I said at the beginning of this program, that any material that comes out of Nasrat should be referenceable and is a smell of originality. It's better for us to do something that is original and get a little credit for it than for us to cheat or plagiarize somebody else's work and get loud ovation for it. That is not Nasrat for you. As a way of pursuing our agenda, we'll continue to educate all the volunteer members of the volunteers in Nasrat, all the members of the editorial board, and all the members of the Sharia Advisory Council. I know at the end of the day, some of them will have had their knowledge increased, because we told them that they will make notes as they are listening to this program. And we're going to look at what they have jotted, and we'll see how they're going to apply it in their endeavors, when they are submitting material to Nasrullah Elifati. We are going to recite Surah Al-Quraysh, all the speakers, for our moderator, who is moderating all the way from the UK. Anytime we call upon him to come and attend to the Nasrullah program, whatever he's doing, he will leave it and come and attend to the work of Allah. May Allah continue to attend to your work too. Our Dawa officer is talking to us, is chipping in his contribution far all the way from Morocco. May Allah be with him, may Allah return him safely. I thank all of you for being part of this program, and I join me in the recital Surah Al-Quraysh for Dr. Lukman Adedeji, Dr. Nasrudi Oniba, Dr. Mr. Ramatullah Adisa. May Allah add this to the scale of good deeds on the day of Qiyamah. Surah Al-Quraysh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إلى بقريش Inshallah, next week, join us on another program. We have set up a program for Ramadan. I want to look at 4 areas: spiritual preparation, educational preparation, medical and social preparation, and financial preparation for Ramadan 1442, inshallah, same time next week. I say Jazakumullah khairan to Ibrahim KG, our Olori Odo, all the way from London. May Allah continue to meet you at your point of need. I thank the coordinator of Dawa Volunteers in Nigeria, Imam Marufuddin, the chairman of the editorial board, and the chairman of the National Sharia Advisory Council. May Allah be with all of you. I thank our former women leader, Alaji, for being part of this program. May Allah continue to be with all of you. May Allah reward all of you abundantly. All that things that you left behind to come and attend to this program, may Allah take care of them. Wala 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 quwwata illa billah. One Rabbi Karabet is that Amaya Sifun. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Thank you very much, sir. Just a quick word, 1 minute. A quick word from our Imam Maruf Balogun. Just 1 minute, sir. Quickly, sir.
He is unable to join us, so we can just go to the closing prayer.
Okay, that's fine. Let's take the closing prayer from our Imam Abdul Qadir Kidir, sir.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah for making this online lecture series a successful one. And we also thank him for granting all the privilege to be among the participants. May Almighty Allah make this lecture a beneficial one for every one of us in this life and the hereafter. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع الدعاء وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم أعطينا إيمانا كاملا وعلما نافعا وعملا متقبلا وخلقا حسنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you very much, sir. Once again, we would like to thank everyone from HAVEK Leadership Academy, from Nasrullah Al-Fatih Society, in conjunction with the HAVEK team. We thank you all for spending your time with us this evening. We ask Allah to continue to reward you, bless us all with benefiting and rewarding knowledge, inshallah. Before we meet until next time, from us all, from the team of production, we say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, everyone. Do have a wonderful night rest. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.